I think you're right, Senator McCain. Let's look at what our military leaders say rather than just looking at what political people think. General Dunford today, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, in a hearing that you chaired today, was asked, what is Putin up to? What do you think he's trying to do here? He said, well, all I can tell you is that the reason he came into Syria was to destroy ISIL and help fight ISIL. It's proven that he did not do that. He didn't try to do that. So what General Dunford said is that basically Putin lied about why he came to Syria. If he's leaving Syria, the job against ISIL is far from done. But I think you've nailed it, Senator McCain. The job of propping up Assad has been accomplished. So what General Dunford said is that the reason that Putin came into Syria was not to destroy ISIL, but to help his stooge, his puppet Assad. He believes he achieved such military superiority on behalf of Assad by bombing the people we've trained that he can now leave. So at the end of the day, he's not leaving. There's a naval base and Air Force base will be in Syria. He said, we're withdrawing our forces, but of course we will have a naval presence and an air base. So here's what I would say, that if he needs to help Assad in the future, he will. Geneva has become a joke. There is no way you're going to negotiate a successful agreement when Assad is backed by Russia and Iran. The opposition has been abandoned by the United States and the free world. The Russian president has bombed the people the American president trained to take Assad out. As to the region has...
Yes, what does the senator from South Carolina think that does to our reputation when we arm and train and equip young men, send them in to fight, ostensibly against ISIS or Bashar Assad, although in this case ISIS, and we stand by and watch the Russians slaughter them from the air?
Well, I think it sends a signal that you can't rely upon us. You got two training programs, one by the CIA, one by the Department of Defense. The people trained outside the Department of Defense have been wholesale slaughtered by the Russian air attacks, and we've done nothing about it. What does the region say? We have two enemies, Assad and ISIL. Our unwillingness to confront Assad has created a sense of abandonment in the entire region. Assad is a puppet of Iran. Iran is the mortal enemy of the Sunni Arab states. So what has the president accomplished here? He said Assad must go. He trained people to help take him down. Russia came in and said Assad won't go. They've attacked the people we've trained, and we basically have abandoned the Free Syrian opposition. Now we're in Geneva talking about a peace agreement where the whole balance now is in Assad's favor. Does anybody really believe that there's military jeopardy to Assad? And without him being in jeopardy, how do you get an agreement the Syrian people can live with? And if Assad or his henchmen stay in power, how do you ever end the war in Syria? So what we've accomplished, Senator McCain, is that we've given the Russians more influence in the Mideast in my life, any time in the last, since 1973. We've allowed Iran to basically dictate the terms in Damascus. We've jeopardized our relationship with our Arab partners. We've put in question Americans' reliability in terms of the people inside of Syria. The Syrian policy of Barack Obama has done enormous damage, and without Russia being involved, none of this would have happened.
And you know, the tragedy of all this, I would just say to my friend, is that when the United States of America was required to stand up because of the commitment of the President of the United States, if the Bashar Assad regime had used chemical weapons and slaughtered, it's gruesome pictures that you and I have seen, and then backed off, that was one of the seminal moments that American credibility disappeared. And here we are now, still refusing to arm and train and equip young men to fight against Bashar Assad, and in fact, making them pledge that they would only fight against ISIS. It's not ISIS that's barrel bombing them. It's not ISIS that's dropping chemical weapons. It's not ISIS that has brought in thousands and tortured and beaten and killed. It's not ISIS is our enemy. ISIS is evil. But to somehow excuse, therefore, the behavior of Bashar Assad with the Russians' indiscriminate bombing is one of the most disgraceful chapters in American history, in my view.
Just to build on this, several years ago, Russia takes by force Crimea. This was not a fair election. It's pretty hard to have a fair election when there's a Russian tank parked out in front of your yard. Good luck saying you don't want to go to Russia. We've done nothing other than sanction Russia. Russia is still engaged in provocative behavior. We told him not to go into Crimea. We told him not to dismember Ukraine. He did. He's stronger, not weaker. We told him not to use military force to help Assad, who's the butcher of Damascus. He did. We pleaded with him not to attack non-ISIL targets. He did. He destroyed the opposition to Assad. Russia is in league with Iran. So the biggest winner of Russia's involvement on the ground in Syria has been the Iranians, which is the most destabilizing group of people in the entire Mideast. The biggest loser has been the Free Syrian Opposition, the Syrian people themselves, and close behind, I think, is the American reputation in the region. So I want the administration to know that your handling of Syria has been a disaster on multiple levels. It's emboldened Iran. It's made Russia stronger. You're losing credibility in the region at a time when the region needs leadership. And if you go to Geneva and you close out a peace deal that's a joke that allows Assad or somebody, Bob Assad, not Bashar Assad, to stay in power, if you allow a peace agreement where the Iranians control Damascus and Russia has a naval and air force base and more influence than we do, what have you accomplished? So I just hope and pray that the administration will stop this insane desire to bring Syria to a conclusion where the conclusion is going to make the whole region subject to blowing up. A successful conclusion is not having Iran being the dominant force inside of Syria, Russia having more influence, an air base and a naval base, and the Syrian people losing the ability to replace their tormentor, and ISIL having a magnet for future recruitment, which is an Iranian-backed Assad. That's not a successful outcome, and that's where we're headed. What do you think, Senator McCain?